Today is the day. In just 90 minutes from now, Jeff Bezos, his brother Mark Bezos, aviation icon Wally Funk, and our first paying customer, Oliver Damon, will launch to space and back. It is a historic moment for human spaceflight and a future where millions of people are living and working in space. Today at Blue Origin, it's first human flight.
The human need to explore is deep within all of us. Our ancestors crossed mountain ranges, sailed open oceans to map new lands, and sought out the unknown while always looking to the stars. We're curious, and now we're at a place where we can pioneer new horizons. Because Earth, this blue planet and all its beauty, is just our starting place.
It's time.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, mandatory start, 2, 1.
Oh yeah, look at her go.
5,000 feet and climbing.
Now is the time to open the promise of space to all and lay the way for generations to come. When our descendants look to the stars, perhaps from a rocky moon or colonies floating in open space, they'll remember this time. When they reflect on where it started, they'll remember this place. And when they honor those first explorers who said, "Let's go,"
This is Blue Moon.
they'll remember these bold steps. We are of Blue Origin. And this is just the beginning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ariane Cornell, and on behalf of everyone at Blue Origin, I am thrilled to welcome you to First Human Flight. It's a big day here at Blue Origin. 4 astronauts will launch to space and back on board our New Shepard rocket, which has safely flown 15 successful consecutive missions leading up to today. Today's launch represents a number of firsts. This launch will be the first time a privately funded spaceflight vehicle has launched private citizens to space from a private launch site and private range down here in Texas. It's also a giant first step towards our vision to have millions of people living and working in space. All the accomplishments with New Shepard directly help the development of our orbital vehicle, New Glenn, and our lunar program, Blue Moon. We're a human spaceflight company at our core. And by building a vertical takeoff and landing rocket first, we've been able to scale that technology up. And you might ask, well, why did Blue set out to do this? Because we need to build a road to space. And it all starts right here. We'll talk more about how New Shepard is helping our other programs a little later in the show. But first, let's talk about who's on board today. This is our crew. In their flight suits with their first human flight mission patches, they have completed training and they are ready to go this morning. Right in the center, of course, is our founder, Jeff Bezos. He's dreamed of going to space since he was a little boy. Jeff will be seated in seat number 6, right next to the hatch. Jeff invited his brother Mark Bezos to join him on the journey. Mark will be seated in seat number 4. And since there are 2 Bezoses flying today, Mark's call sign is going to be DEMO. That is an acronym for his kids' first names. And the other astronauts' call signs are going to be their last names. You'll hear that, of course, over the radio later today. In seat number 3 in the capsule, Wally Funk. Wally has been trying to get to space her entire life. And today, she'll surpass John Glenn, American hero, as the oldest person to reach space at the age of 82. Oliver Damon, occupying seat number 1, will be the youngest person to have traveled to space at just 18 years old. He joins us from the Netherlands. So today, we have both the youngest and the oldest people to have ever flown in space. How about that? What a crew do we have for you this morning? Each of our inaugural crew will be receiving an exclusive Omega watch as a gift, which will fly with them on their historic flight to space. And each watch will be engraved with their name, the flight number, and a unique Blue Origin feather on the back, something to remind them of today's mission for years to come. This one, they've donated to me for the day, but sorry, Omega, you may or may not be getting it back. Sorry, not sorry, actually. Now, these soon-to-be astronauts have been down here training for a couple of days now, and the great thing about New Shepard is, since it's autonomous, just about anybody can fly on board. We designed it this way from the very beginning, so the people on board can sit back and enjoy the ride of a lifetime. Let's take a look of some of that training from the last 2 days. This training is meant to get you comfortable with the vehicle, get comfortable and familiar with the sights and the sounds, and learn how to maintain a safe mission. Again, it's autonomous. We're not teaching you how to operate the vehicle, and that's exactly what you're seeing here. You know, I actually recently went through this training, and I gotta say, the training is a lot of fun, very informative, but also, very importantly, you build these bonds with your fellow astronauts, and you create these stories together. Now, my crew of astronauts, A-S-T-R-O, capital N-O-T-S, astronauts, we were the fake crew. We called ourselves the prequel penguins because we were the last rehearsal crew, and we wouldn't be flying. But again, these are the types of stories that you walk away with. And, you know, at the end, after that training, I felt prepared to fly. And when I say prepared to fly, I felt confident in my own abilities to participate and enjoy the flight, but also confident in Blue Origin, the team, and most of all, this big, beautiful rocket that we built with safety at its core. It was a great experience, and obviously one that I highly recommend, but next time, though, I'm not just stopping at the training. I'm getting on top of that rocket. But while we have a moment here, I want to acknowledge the entire Blue Origin team who has made first human flight possible, so many of whom are following along today at watch parties across the country. The biggest one will be at our headquarters in Kent. There they are. It is early. Good morning, guys. They're going nuts already. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Team Blue. You guys are in for an amazing day. Amazing day. I love it. I'm not really a morning person, but you know what? This is a really good excuse to get up. Let me tell you, it's going to be a big day. All right, down here in West Texas, a little earlier today, our astronauts arrived at the Astronaut Training Center. And standing by outside the Astronaut Training Center is our on-the-ground correspondent, Caitlin Dietrich. Good morning, Caitlin. What is the latest?
Good morning, Ariane. I'm here in front of the Astronaut Training Center, and I got to tell you, outside here, it is a beautiful day. It could not be nicer for a rocket launch. I'm looking right at the rocket on the pad here. We're all getting a little emotional and pretty excited. And at about T-minus 2 hours down here in West Texas, the astronauts arrived here. They got out of their truck, and they walked into the training center. There was no frowns on any of their faces. Everyone was smiling. The energy was high. Wally Funk was basically skipping into the training center. I think they're going to have a good flight today. And what they're doing inside is just getting suited up in their flight suits. And they're going to do, you know, final kind of mission briefings just to get kind of refresher here in the early morning hours. And then at T-minus 45 minutes, when they get the go to load, they'll walk right out this door, get into this Rivian, and be on their way to space.
Thanks, Caitlin. I imagine Wally Funk was more like doing cartwheels into the Astronaut Training Center, and I highly expect her to be doing the same to the Rivian trucks. That woman, her energy is infectious, and she has all the reason to be excited today. As we said, she's been waiting her entire life to get to space. All right, we're going to be checking in with Caitlin a little bit later for more updates. But right now, let's turn our attention to the rocket. She's right behind me, just a couple of miles north from where I sit. Now, New Shepard is named after Alan Shepard, the first American to go to space in 1951. 61, that is, 50 years ago. And earlier this morning, as you can see here, New Shepard left the barn and traveled to the launch pad to prepare to go to space and back. This time, of course, with astronauts on board, including our very first paying customer, Oliver Damon. Now, back inside the barn there, I should note that we do have a second rocket, and we have had several paying payload customers on previous flights on that rocket. We will continue to fly future payloads on that dedicated rocket for that. The rocket that's over my shoulder here, that rocket will be dedicated to flying astronauts. This flight and going forward for many more to come. This day here at Blue Origin is the culmination of years of testing, learning, and safely proving out the system across 15 successful consecutive missions. With that in mind, let's zero in on New Shepard, the importance of safety and redundancy, and how we got to first human flight.
For New Shepard, we've been following an aggressive step-by-step approach from the beginning. The first time we flew New Shepard, we demonstrated every single aspect, re-entry, parachute deployment, and that mission was 100% successful for the capsule. M2 was about rolling in changes and trying it again. This time we stuck the landing, but we needed to show we could do it again. So that was what M3 was. For M4, we pushed the envelope, lighting the engine just seconds before it would impact the ground, and we perfected it at that time. In M5, we intentionally did not deploy one of the main parachutes, and it worked perfectly. We had done a pad escape test that the capsule can launch and escape if there is an accident on the pad. The M6 mission was about testing that at its most stressing condition. We ignited the solid rocket motor in flight and showed that we can recover the capsule safely. For M7, what we introduced was a new capsule design. M8 was just a repeat, and then the third escape test was to show that we could escape in space. So on M9, the capsule lit off its solid rocket motor and landed safely. M9 and M13, we are flying payload missions for customers, giving us even more and more confidence in the capability of the New Shepard system. 13 was a perfect flight, preparing for the M14 mission, another verification and check. We're ready for first human flight.